Hello there, and welcome to the lesson. This is an interesting lesson, and one that really does put you in control of your health and well-being when it comes to manual handling at work. We'll discuss the hazards and injuries that you can sustain during manual handling. So, let's get right to it. We'll start out by discussing the causes of injuries. Statistical figures can help us understand what can cause injury when we are manual handling. This can help us to know where to focus our attention when we're working and also when assessing and reducing risk.
According to a recent study, the following are what types of manual handling activity caused an injury. 17% handling injuries from lifting or putting down loads and pushing or pulling loads. 12% cuts from sharp, coarse material or trapped fingers. 11% sprains and strains from body movement. 10% injuries from manually handling or supporting a person. 5% from carrying loads. 2% from handling people using people handling equipment. And 19% of handling injuries from lifting or carrying in unknown or unspecified ways.
We'll now take a look at some high-risk industries that account for the majority of manual handling injuries.
Some industries are at higher risk of injury, such as agriculture, forestry and fishing, construction, transportation and storage, public administration and defence, human health and social work activities.
Please note that while the industries mentioned are considered higher risk, it doesn't mean that because you are in a different industry that you are not at risk. What types of injuries are common in the workplace? Let's see. The majority of injuries caused by manual handling are musculoskeletal, also known as MSDs.
Musculoskeletal injuries are any injuries or damage to the upper limbs, lower limbs, or the back. These injuries can also include disorders, and the injury usually occurs in the joints or tissues of these parts of the body.
It's a sobering thought that musculoskeletal disorders accounted for 35% of work-related injuries and 6.6 million lost working days in the UK alone. It's a shame, because they are preventable.
When you consider these facts, it's easy to see why there is so much legislation surrounding manual handling activities at work, and why it's so important that you take accountability for the responsibility around manual handling while at work.
It's also a good idea to know about common disorders and immediate injuries that can be sustained.
As mentioned earlier, the most common types of musculoskeletal disorders arising from manual handling are upper limb disorders, lower limb disorders, back pain. Not surprisingly though, manual handling causes other injuries not considered musculoskeletal, such as cuts, bruises, fractures, injuries to fingers, thumbs, feet, arms, and hands.
Now, before we get into specific musculoskeletal disorders, it's a good idea to have some basic ideas about the musculoskeletal system. You could say that the musculoskeletal system holds up the body. It's one aspect of the human body that provides stability and movement. The musculoskeletal system forms the skeleton and soft tissues of the body, from the neck to the limbs.
Muscle and other soft tissues cover the skeleton, such as ligaments, cartilage, tendons, joints.
When injuries occur to the musculoskeletal system, it can be challenging to identify what part of the system is injured. Usually, this happens because of the size and complexity of the system itself. Why is it important to seek help promptly if you suspect a musculoskeletal disorder? Well, the nature and complexity of the musculoskeletal system means that it's essential to seek prompt medical attention if there is an injury or disorder. Otherwise, things could become much worse.
The musculoskeletal system relies on balance. If any aspect of the musculoskeletal system is unbalanced due to injury, disorders, or poor posture, the system has to rebalance itself to maintain a center of gravity.
We can't stand upright without a center of gravity, and this is where the problem lies. To rebalance, the musculoskeletal system will make use of other parts of the system to compensate for the imbalance.
This creates pressure points in different parts of the musculoskeletal system owing to the imbalance, and adds extra wear and tear from the individual's own body weight to the stressed parts of the body. If work tasks put an unbalanced musculoskeletal system under further pressure, the problem intensifies. It's a good idea at this point to keep in mind that the disorder symptoms are prevalent. It always helps to understand what the symptoms of a musculoskeletal disorder are. This way, it makes it much easier to determine if you have one. If you do suspect a musculoskeletal injury, you should seek medical advice right away.
We have 4 strategies to manage risks of injury in the workplace. We may not manage to prevent every musculoskeletal disorder, but we can highlight strategies to help you manage the risks of injury and disorder in the workplace. Note that these strategies are as much the responsibility of the employee as they are the employer. It's important to pay attention no matter what position you hold at work.
Let's look at the 4 strategies that can be considered. 1. Be realistic. It's easy to think injuries wouldn't happen to you, but they happen to someone like you every single day. Don't do something if you believe you are at risk. 2. Report the risks you identify. Don't ignore the risks. Report them right away to your manager or appoint a health and safety representative. Don't carry on if there's a problem or if you feel unsure about the risks to your health. 3. Be aware of factors that cause harm. Don't carry on when you are feeling pain or unsure if you can manage. Maintain a healthy and risk-free working style. Consider and correct your posture and the risks you take. Monitor the impact of repetitive tasks. Pay attention to the influence of your environment. If there's no room to work, it could increase the risk of injury. Be mindful of difficult-to-grasp loads and adjust your working style accordingly. Here are some examples of difficult-to-grasp loads, but it's not an exclusive list. You might discover other examples in your workplace. Slippery loads. Sharp edges. Too cold or hot to handle. Unstable loads. Chemical hazards. Underfoot conditions. Location of the task. 4. Control and reduce the risks. Ensure that the workplace is managed and organized. An unorganized workplace and a disorganized approach can cause all kinds of problems. It can also increase the risks of manual handling injuries. Consider how many risk factors a worker faces at any time, then seek to reduce or remove as many of the risks as possible. Pay attention to your posture, learn how to improve it in general, and how to use correct posture techniques to support you when you are lifting. Take extra care to minimize the risk for loads that are damaged, unstable, and difficult to grasp. Personal protective equipment can be useful here as well as correct loading techniques and mechanical aids. Reporting injuries early, combined with the correct treatment and appropriate return to work plans, can help aid the recovery and assist employees with returning to work.
Finally, let's end the lesson by talking about accident and incident reporting.
Accident. According to the HSE, An accident is an undesired circumstance which gives rise to ill health injury, damage, production losses, or increased liabilities. An accident is a specific situation caused by chance. They are never intentional and usually results in damage or injury. Incident. Compared to an incident is more general. An incident refers to any event. These incidents can be severe or small, planned or not, and can be a threat to the safety or well-being of employees, consumers, and visitors to the workplace. Accidents and incidents are reported to bring awareness of a potential situation, manage and control the threat of risks, maintain a legal document of the case, should it be needed in the future.
And that's all for this lesson. We trust you had a great time learning about the topics discussed here. We'll see you in the next one.